independence of the Western Cape. It's back on the table. More people are talking about it. And here's Phil Craig, the leader of the referendum party and a co-founder of the Cape Independence Advocacy Group, who tells us that there's a lot of interest now in the United States for the concept of Cape independence. That could also be a game changer.
We've had a change of tack. So we negotiated a referendum. I personally agreed a referendum with John Steenhuisen, who promised that the DA would call a referendum which included a question on Cape independence, and ultimately the DA reneged on that agreement. And they say this, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is insanity. We've stopped at this point in time trying to lobby the DA into calling a referendum, and we're busy organising a private referendum in either late 2026 or early 2027 is our best forecast at the moment. We are going to organise a private referendum, or a referendum of the Western Cape, which will be privately organised. Of all 3.2 million Western Cape voters, and we're going to hold our own referendum on Cape independence. If we can, if we can deliver Cape independence in the Western Cape, or get to the point where it's supportable, the US is going to support us in a heartbeat. That's absolutely clear. I can say that unequivocally. That they're not going to say that publicly. They didn't say it in as many words to me, but it's absolutely clear that we have their moral and ideological support for this. They absolutely understand the issues that are there, but what we have to realize, we obviously, whenever South Africa is in the news in the US, we hear it, we kind of think, hang on a second, all the US does is talk about South Africa. South Africa is a blip on the radar in the US, and that's the one thing that I had to learn for myself. That if you take up of the bandwidth, if South Africa takes up 1/4% of the US's bandwidth, that's our reality. And we might always hear about that 1/4%, but they're not spending their life talking about South Africa and our problems. And the one message that I brought back really to the Cape independence movement is, these guys will absolutely support us. Now is our time, but we've got to do the hard work. We've got it. They're not going to come and magically deliver it for us. We're going to have to do it ourselves. And if they do it ourselves, we've got a strong ally. And I've got we developed some really strong allies behind the scenes, and people who will publicly start to come out and to make noises in our favor. But we've got to create the momentum here. And actually that helped a lot. I came back. We're busy with a big unification project inside of the Cape independence movement, the referendum party, the Cape Independence Party, Cape Exit, who've got 840,000 members, and the CIAG signed a memorandum of understanding about a month and a half ago, and we're very far down the road in terms of this combined effort that's going to resolve in this referendum being held privately. That's one of the key issues for there, and we need to create that, which then you can imagine, if we're sitting here in 18 months' time and we've got a referendum win which has been inspected and overseen by the international community, and we can go and say, look, the DA may be blocking an official referendum on Cape independence, but here's the private referendum. You inspected it. You've seen it was of all 3.2 million people of the Western Cape, and we can prove beyond a shadow of doubt that the majority of people in the Western Cape favour Cape independence. That is going to radically change the game, and that's our project. And I think on the back of that, the US will do a lot. I mean, look, ironically, there are delegations. There's a US delegation in the Western Cape at the moment, discussing specifically Cape independence, and I'm not going to give all of the details, but those interactions are going on. So yes, there is definitely interest in this project at all levels of government, including the very highest in the US.
That's a heck of a statement. So there is a group of people from the United States right now in the Western Cape discussing Cape independence. Phil Craig was referring there to his 5-week visit to the US recently, where he met with people at very senior levels. And that is the feedback that he's brought. One of them was put together all these disparate Cape independence groupings and have a united front. The pressure's growing. It'll be interesting to see how that develops in the months ahead.